Hey guys, and welcome back to G's Autos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, it's been 8 months in the making and we finally got there. The coilovers are now fitted to the Starlet. So first of all, I'd like to give a big thank you to Tim and Peter from EFI Logic. Guys, once again, thank you so much for your support on this episode and your ongoing support for the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Now, anyone watching this video, EFI Logic have a lot of experience with cars. These guys go right back to doing the auto salon cars back in the day. I think they refer to them as the old sex spec cars, the show cars. A lot of experience with drag cars, race cars, modified street cars, custom show cars, all this kind of stuff. And I really enjoy working with these guys because of their experience and their knowledge. It's absolutely fantastic to draw upon all that. So guys, once again, thank you so much. So we're going to take a look at the coilover process, Tim fitting the coilovers, plus the car also got a general service as well and a good looking over to make sure everything is sweet. Anyway guys, enough out of me. I hope you liked the video. Look, stick around for more content on the Starlet. We have an announcement on the Starlet at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, so we just, actually Tim's taken out, we need a wee jar, so every time I say we need to put $1 in.
I like that.
So Tim's just taken out one of the stock ones, as you can see, and we're just laying it against the BC Racing version of the coilover. Now, Tim, do you want to run us through basically the main differences to do with a stock setup versus coilover setup?
So main differences we're really looking at here, obviously we've got a fixed spring seat with our stock McPherson style strut, whereas we can now move our spring seat up and down. You'll hear a lot of people talk about preloading springs. Really, no, you don't need to preload springs. If you jump onto Murray Coote or MCA suspension, they have some really informative videos on how to set up preload on a spring, how it should be done. The biggest difference we're going to be doing and dealing with in your car, I mean, these are our sort of entry-level BC shocks. We've got adjustment on the top here for our dampener. So for our rebound and our bound are all done in one valve that we can adjust. The big one is here that we can adjust our height. So if we wanted to get really carried away, we could bust out the corner weights and corner weight the car, but for a street car we won't do that, we'll just set our height. So.
And that particular coilover that we chose is basically, of course it's perfect for a street setup.
100%.
We didn't need to go spending extra money on like a fully optioned race car type setup.
External reservoir, you know, dual adjustment, you know, things like that. We don't really need that on the street. And that sort of a shock is really not going to respond well to doing a lot of street driving.
Yep.
You know, once you get to those sorts of levels, like the really good shock absorbers, like the Murray Cootes or your Bilsteins and things like that, you shouldn't be straight driving them anyway. Yep. They'll all fly to pieces.
So we're actually going to go through on how to set these up for the Starlet. So I think first we're going to go through and just remove the old ones and then...
Pretty much, and then we'll set our heights on the bench or on the floor here at the moment.
Yep.
We'll get our heights close to where we want it to be.
Yep.
Then we'll get them in the car and start doing our measurements.
So is that just a matter of sitting it against one of the factory ones?
Yeah, correct. From where we were in the car there to the top bolt of our McPherson strut originally.
Yep.
We'll do the same deal here. We'll set it close to there. We may lower it half an inch,
Yep.
And then we'll get it in the car. We'll put the wheels back on it, let it down, settle it, roll it backwards and forwards, and then take all our measurements and get the heights all equal.
Okay, beautiful.
Excellent.
All right, Tim. So that those couple of tools you've got there, they come with the coilovers.
I know, yeah.
So how are you actually lowering this this part down? Is it just
what we're going to do is hold onto one of these upper lock nuts.
Yep.
And then we crack this lock nut. We then move our shock body around.
Yep.
And that will allow this to move up and down. We can, while we're not bolted in, we can spin the base around. Once we get the bolts in there, we just move our height up and down.
So these two here, they stay exactly there.
Because this is what applies the load. This is your spring base.
Yes.
So that's why we leave them, we don't want to.
So this threaded basically goes down through this section here and enables you to wind it down.
Yes, yeah, and that will set our height.
Okay.
Yeah. If you look at the set that used to be in my old race WRX, it was a very expensive set of conies I bought at the time. But the only way we could get our height adjustment was to move the spring seat up and down, and that was a really bad compromise because we were then unloading springs that the car would go through corners and things like that. So it affected how the car would steer. Needless to say, I wasn't a good driver either, so that's why we went drag racing instead.
Yeah, it's nice and straight.
Yeah.
Just show us whereabouts are you measuring from there, Tim?
So we'll measure from 2 permanent points regardless of what we do with our spring seat height, which is where it bolts into the body of the car and our McPherson strut top bolt.
Yep.
This is obviously going to be able to be moved on the car. So as you can see, I'm doing it really accurately here with one eye closed.
Yep.
And I've got a measurement of about 440 to the centre of
Yep.
this bolt hole. So what we'll do is we'll take our 1.5 inches away from that 440,
Yep.
set it up in the front of the vehicle now with 40. So there, at the moment, you can see to the centre we're 380. So
Yep.
I definitely want it to come down a bit more than that.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll look like we're on our way to auto salon. So we'll definitely move that down.
I don't have the paint job for that.
No, or the croc skin interior.
All the mirrors.
Yeah, that's right.
I just remember all the mirrors and every single thing chromed and.
Yeah. I feel like I miss it a little bit at times.
Yes, and for those who don't know, you actually used to work on those kinds of cars.
We did, yeah. My brother had one that we took there. We were amongst the bogans that took Commodores
Yep.
to auto salon to upset people. A lot of good memories, a lot of good mates. But all of us grew up and decided that chrome most probably wasn't the go anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, we went racing instead.
Yep,
Yeah.
nice. And get to work on mighty powerful Starlets.
I know, look at the 90s Japanese stuff, mate. It
They're
does
good.
not get any better.
Yeah.
This is up there most probably with GDRs, I feel.
Yep.
I get as excited when a GDR comes in as when this one does.
Yep, no, I owe you $100 for that one, mate. That's
No
good.
worries, buddy.
So Tim's just adjusting that coilover now. So the original measurement was 440 mil. We just measured it then. It was 380.
We've now got 395, so we'll shoot for about 400.
Yep.
And we'll set the other side up, and then, like I said, we'll put the wheels on, let the car down, roll it backwards and forwards to settle
Let
our
it settle.
suspension,
Yep.
and measure from the centre of our wheel nut to the brow of the guard.
Yep.
And that gives us our ride heights.
Okay.
We can play around with it from there if we want to go up or down. Just the same procedure.
Okay.
So let's do that.
Then basically from there it's just a copy and paste. Basically doing the other ones.
Pretty much.
Once you've got your first measurement, you just replicate that.
Pretty much. Obviously, so we'll set this side up first. If we wanted to get really technical, like I said, when we corner weigh cars, we'll actually either get the driver to sit in the car,
Yep.
or that's what the gym weights are for down the back, because this body doesn't do gym.
Yep.
We put 80 to 100 kilos in the driver's seat.
Yep.
And we'll set the car up at equal heights or equal weights, pushing down on the
Okay.
ground. So it gets quite technical. That process can take anywhere up to sort of 6
And that's obviously when you're setting up a race car, it has to be really precise and,
much, yeah.
spot on. Yeah, but
Yeah.
being a daily driver like mine, obviously you don't need to get to that
We don't
to
need
that
to
level.
offset too much there.
Yeah.
We'll just get the heights right,
Yep.
and then play around with the alignment a little bit.
Yep.
Send it.
So our original measurement from the original suspension was 440. We're currently at 400. So in theory, the ride height has been dropped by 40 mil.
I hope so.
Yep.
Again, I'm not familiar with this particular spring setup or anything else, so
Yep.
we have left our lock nut somewhat loose.
Yep.
What we'll do, because we've really only eyeballed it at the moment.
Yep.
So from here, we'll do the other, copy the same all the way around, and then lower the car down and make our final assessment from there.
Beautiful.
Done.
All right, so we just moved on to measuring up the rear. So Tim's just taken one of the old ones out. What measurement did you come up with, Tim, for
Again,
the?
For the rear, because it's ever so slightly different, it goes down to a beam rear axle.
Yep.
We've got 500 from the bottom of the strut top to our centre of our bolt, thereabouts. So again, we'll take our inch out of the rear and set it up and put it on the ground and let's
Okay.
see.
All right, just doing the first. We're just doing the first, basically test fit, I suppose you could say, and measurement. And what are you thinking, Tim?
It's looking a little high to me. We might go down a little bit more.
Yep.
More so for visual. I believe, yeah, you can't go too low, otherwise you end up with all sorts of funny roll centre angles,
Yep,
instant centre
yeah.
angles. We really don't want to be fighting
No,
that.
not because I do. People who don't know, I do about 1,000 k's a week. So we start changing too much geometry, angles, and all the rest of it. Going to start wearing things out, and
And it makes the car harder to drive. If your instant centre moves underground, which is a common problem when you lower a Commodore, it moves the instant centre and the roll centre the wrong way. So what we'll do, we'll mostly come down. We've got to the centre of the wheel nut to the brow of the guard. we've got about 355 on the front, 360 at the rear. We'll probably bring it down another 10 mil just for a visual, make it look nice.
Yep.
And I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, cool.
So then we'll get on to the service.
No worries. Now we've just, well actually Tim's finished fitting the coilovers. Now these do have an adjustment for hard and soft. So that's just to, how does that affect the car on that when you adjust that, Tim?
So it seems as though they've got like a locked valve for bump, which is going to be your compression.
Yes.
What we're adjusting there is our rebound, so how much it'll allow the gas or the liquid to move through the valve. So what that will do is allow the tyre to be pushed down harder as opposed to bumping up. So that's always set. So what we'll do there, we'll take it out for a drive, or you'll take it out for a drive, and see where it feels comfortable for you. And
so you've just set that to middle ground at the moment?
Middle ground. There are 30, I counted 30 clicks from one lock to the other. We've set it at 15. It's now up to you to go and have a crack and see what you like. Make adjustments at one end at a time and see how it goes from there.
And for anyone setting these up on the road, that's a pretty easy, nice, simple setup to have rather than having, you know, lots of adjustments and things to make for a street car.
You can get baffled by having too much data at times too, and too much adjustment. So sometimes you just want to make a small change and see which way it goes, whether you like it or not. A lot of this comes down to personal preference as to how you like the car to steer.
And that's the beauty of having coilovers, having that personal adjustment to be able to make, just fine tune it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
We set up multiple race cars for multiple clients. We can put 2 clients in the same car and they will want different settings in the springs and in the dampeners. So it again highlights to me how much of a difference each driving style is. So,
beautiful.
Excellent.
So while the car's here, it is going to receive a service. So obviously new engine oil filter. Tim just checked the brake fluid and there was a little bit of moisture in there, so all that has been basically sucked out of there. New brake fluid will be going in and a new radiator will be dropped in. As you can see, if I can get you in there nice and close, just all the bubbling, the discoloration in that plastic, that radiator is basically on its last legs, and coming into the hot weather I definitely don't want this letting go while I'm in the middle of whoop driving home. So the new radiator will be going in, which will be fantastic. That's one less thing for me to worry about. Alright, while that all drains, we'll just take a quick look at the exhaust. Stock standard system, very, very thin, tiny little exhaust system. So this will be removed and replaced with a new exhaust. Most likely I'll be getting a mandrel bend system. Obviously a high flow high flow rear muffler just to help the engine breathe. But that will be in a separate video, hopefully coming up soon. So Tim's just going through, having a look. Anything jumping out at you at this stage, Tim? You just mentioned down the track probably a rear engine mount.
Rear engine mount, yeah. I did notice though, someone at some stage has fitted new coilovers.
I did notice that. That's fully sick.
That is really, mate. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's, you've picked up a bit of a bargain there.
So we do have to get around to doing the rack ends.
Yes.
The rack ends and the front control arm bushes. But apart from that, the ball joints are good. New suspension, which is fantastic. And a speedo cable.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll explain that disaster in another video coming up in the next few days.
We might be able to do your deal on an IC7 dash for it instead.
Yes, that would be... Yes, and we do have an announcement at the end of this video about an upgrade we are doing to the car, which we'll get to soon. It's taken a bit of a... You can see that floor, that rail there's taken a fair whack.
It has, hasn't it? Possibly a ripple strip at turn 3.
Oh, I tell you what. Yep. But like, nothing's... There's no cracks in the floor, there's no anything to be concerned about.
The fuel lines and brake lines have been protected by this bit of the rail is,
very lucky.
Yeah. You buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah. But overall, pretty clean. There's just a little bit of oil coming out, and that is because I did break the speedo cable, which you will see in another video coming out over the weekend. All right, so the car's almost done now. So there's new brake fluid in there. As you know, there was moisture in there, so Tim's replaced all that. The brakes have been bled. The new radiator is in. Oil and filter is done. Now, I was just going to ask you, Tim, about radiator coolant, because there is red, there's green. Is there a difference between the two? Or
100%. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So generally, the rule of thumb is what comes out in the car is what you put back in.
And that's from the manufacturer?
As from the manufacturer. So like the LS that we've got over there, it comes out with red stuff from original. We buy 20-litre drums of Holden's Dex Cool. Yep. And that's what we put back into all of our LSs. This one come out with green coolant from Toyota, so we're putting the green coolant back into it. Definitely can't mix the two. It will turn to like a jelly type substance. Okay. So if you're gonna make the change for one reason or another, you've got to flush the whole system out.
What's the difference between the
different materials that they're made of, organic, synthetic, things like that. So everyone has a slightly different take on it. It's mostly a dye that changes the colour. But again, the Dex Cool is an organic type coolant.
So if you do end up someone puts the wrong, decides to put different coolant in, you can actually
you can
gel up, and
100%.
That'd be a full flush of the...
that's it. Basically, got to pop the water pump off and flush it through, thermostat out, the whole deal, and hopefully it doesn't go to jelly in your radiator.
Yep, okay, cool. Thanks for answering that, mate.
That's all right.
So, yeah, that's almost done, and so soon we'll drive it off, and, you'll get to see how low this one is sitting. So we're pretty happy with it. The rims have come up good. I put the centre caps on and everything like that. So, stay tuned. We'll have a look.
Man. The magic of television in your cars now got coilovers.
Now she's low.
Looks good. I like it.
Yeah. That looks heaps better. What'd you think?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's no it's no EB. You know, it doesn't drive as nice as that, but otherwise, no, it does. It drives good. I'm happy with it. I am.
Excellent.
We'll get it back and do those last little bits on the tie rod ends, the rack ends. It'll be a rocket ship, mate. Yeah. Can't wait.
Well, I think the next probably step will be the exhaust.
Yes.
And then we are getting, you'll be organising, we're not going to say just yet what ECU we're getting, but we are getting an ECU for it. And we'll actually do a video where we talk about the ECU and why we chose it, because we're still deciding what we're actually going to do with the car moving forward. So stay tuned for that one. Tim, once again, thanks, mate. No, good stuff.
Getting to work on 90s Japanese cars. It doesn't get much better.
Can't beat it.
That's it.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, there's more content coming out for the Starlet. So keep an eye out for that exhaust, ECU, all that kind of stuff. All right, thanks, guys. Cheers, Tim.